Welcome to Human Rich, where you learn about the humans that are part of every business equation and can make or break your company. As we often forget, people don't go to work and forget what they do as human. They expect the same personalized experience as they have when they go shopping on Amazon. That's why we can continue to approach them when it's convenient for us, but instead we need to approach them at the right moment with relevant content. I'm Hugo Hamel, founder and CMO of NH3, a personalization marketing agency for B2B businesses. Our today's guest, Valentin Radu, is CEO at Omniconvert, and lucky us, he's taking the time to walk us through what we need to personalize and optimize conversions, but more precisely about our audiences and data management so we can learn how to humanize our marketing and grow our businesses. So now before we start, I just wanted to thank you, Valentin, for taking the time of being part of Human Rich.
Thanks as well for inviting me. I'm all yours.
Awesome. So as we're human-centered, I just wanted to ask you the first question I ask everyone. What is the one thing that most people don't know about you? Maybe something that you've never mentioned online.
One thing is that I'm playing some old instrument, and I don't know if I have it here. Yeah, it would be fun to play a bit, but yeah. So I'm using an old instrument to play, and I'm going in the forest because I have a forest near my home. And now that I'm working from home, I'm going in the mornings with my dog, and I'm playing there in the middle of the forest. And my grandfather used to be a forest ranger, so it has to be in the family, in the genealogy.
Indeed. Awesome. So what is the name of the instrument that you play the most often?
It's it's kind of a flute, but I don't know the association, the translation. It's called Pilinka. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to figure out what is the translation, and at least I can understand what it is. Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about your journey into personalization and conversion optimization, like from the very first beginning, because OmniConvert is already a few years old, and I'm sure that you've been into that long before. So tell us a little bit more about your journey.
Sure. So I first started back in 2010. At that moment, I was the CMO and co-founder of the largest online car insurance player in Romania, and we were struggling with the customer acquisition cost and with the Google ads. So the conversion rate was flat, and we wanted to use something to improve the conversions. So after a few online surveys, we realized that people lacked trust into our company because we were fresh at that moment, and people weren't that let's say open to online order to order online this kind of car insurance. So we decided, let's personalize the experience of the visitors according to their location and according to their car maker. So that's how we've addressed the customers with various landing pages and with various overlays. So if you are coming from a certain city, let's say London or Milan or whatever, you are seeing a different homepage. So we analyzed how many visitors we have from a certain location, and based on the IP of the visitors, we were using the central square in that city, and that improved the conversions a bit. Then we've used the car maker because they were filling in what kind of car do you have. Let's say it's a Volkswagen, and then it's a Passat, and then we suddenly inserted there a picture with the most common cars. So by doing this on a dynamic mode, people were starting to feel much more at ease to order online and to close the conversions. And that was my first thing. So that is 10 years ago since we've run first online personalization experiments.
Awesome. And what made you passionate about it? Like, what was the kind of the turning point in your life, or it's like a highlight of failure, success, or life-changing event like that kind of made you realize that you really wanted to dedicate yourself at some point to personalization and conversion? Like, what passionated you about it?
Yeah, after that moment, we've seen that we were being let's say hypnotized about pouring money into ads and not having the return. And after realizing that I'm not alone here, I'm not the single marketing whatever I was at that moment that was struggling with this, that opened my eyes, and I've said, wow, that thing could turn into a technology, and we could help a lot of marketeers around the world which are having the same problem that we have. I mean, conversion rate optimization, it's a struggle for a lot of companies, and most of them are not yet, even though we are in 2020, even though we are here and we have access to all this technology and all this know-how and all this data, still companies are not aware about how much they can improve their conversion rate. So after a whole year of improvements, here and there, of course, not all the experiments were good, and not all of them brought an uplift. However, after 1 year, we've improved the conversion rate by 60%, 60. And that means our customer acquisition cost decreased with the same amount of budget invested. And that allowed us to move the company upward. And that was a game-changing strategy for us. However, companies and CMOs and marketeers are not aware about that, because they are trained that, let's say, their mentality about growth marketing is acquisition, is paid marketing, which is a mistake. I mean, traffic is one side of the equation, but conversions are the other. And in order to improve conversions, you need to use all this kind of data that is there, right? It's just you need to connect the dots.
Absolutely. I do think that you really mentioned everything that is kind of crucial at some point about personalization and conversion optimization, which is you need to have traffic to be able to have enough data at some point, but you also need to don't forget that you need to optimize the conversion, because as you said, like most businesses just forget about it. They don't, it's not something that seems important for them. So now that we kind of well, now that we know a little bit more about you, can you tell us more about Omniconvert? Like give us a little bit more context. I see Omniconvert in the back. People might be wondering, what is Omniconvert? So give us more context about Omniconvert, and how do you apply personalization and conversion optimization within your work at Omniconvert?
Yeah. So we are uh, we've we have 7 years of existence. We are a team of 30 plus people. We are empowering a lot of customers to personalize their experience, to analyze the data, to run segments. So we have a lot of technology, but the most important part is the fact that we are in a continuous learning uh, process, and we have various types of technology pieces, but the most important thing for us is to really move the needle for our customers. So the is that saying that a fool with a tool is still a fool, right? So even though we have a lot of technology products, code lines, machine learning, whatever, it doesn't matter if we are not helping the customers with our tools. So we have a lot of tools. We've started back in 2013. After my experience with the online car insurance, I've turned this into a company. We've raised money back in 2016, and now we have a tool set which is empowering mostly the e-commerce players to improve their conversion rate and their customer retention rate, which is the hidden force of growth is the retention. It's not the conversion nor the acquisition, right? Of course, there are business models which are highly reliant on acquisition, like, I don't know, wedding rings or anything like that, where you don't have too many repetitive buyers. But most of the companies are relying on the customer retention. So we've started with conversion rate optimization. We have a tool set for online surveys, which is tracking the NPS, which is tracking the customer satisfaction, the reasons that keep customers from buying, and the most important barriers that they need to overcome. Then we have another tool set, which is the A/B testing, which allows e-commerce marketers to test the best version of their funnels. And then we have the web personalization set, which is using first-party data and third-party data as well. After we have got into an adventure of using all kind of data, like weather conditions, IP location, UTMs, traffic sources, so all these kind of data, now we are understanding after all these years that 2 years ago we realized that, hey, the most important thing is the relation that the company has with their customers. That's the most important thing. So even though you can use the name of the customer or the last purchase items or the lifetime value, what is the most important thing is the experience itself. And that's why we've built a new tool, which is called Reveal, which empowers the marketers and the e-commerce managers as well to segment their customers according to the value. that they have to their company. And we are big supporters of RFM, which is quite simple but also very, very complex. So RFM states recency, frequency, and monetary value. So any customer for an e-commerce has these scores, right? The most recent customers are the most willing to buy again. The most frequent customers are the most willing to buy again. And the guys that paid the most, right? They have the biggest lifetime value. They are much more willing to buy again from you. And the reality from any company is that the best customers bring in something around 350 times more than the average customer. So the best customer, the VIPs, are the most precious for any company. However, most companies and most e-commerce players are proponing are giving away the same experience, right? So they give away the same prices, the same treatments to everyone. So it's like in the communist era, right? Everyone gets the same treatment, the same price. And in the Black Friday, they go in and they cut off and they slash their prices so that their existing customers get the same treatment as the new customers. And this is kind of, let's say, uh, unequal, right? So it's like if you go the same restaurant and every day you don't have a special treatment, and that will make you feel bad about it, even though you're not going to any restaurant because stay home, right? That's
Yeah.
the mantra. But after, let's say, hopefully we'll get out of this mess where we are, we will need to go to restaurants and things, and the economy will start to move again. And these times are very important, are kind of crucial to nurture and to cherish the relations that we already have with our customers. And that's what we do at Omniconvert in a nutshell. Let's say we do a lot of stuff, but mostly we support our customers to grow in a data-driven manner and to retain their existing customers. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think you mentioned something that is really interesting is I don't know for you in Europe, but here in Canada, we like most telecoms company, what they do, or some companies, what they would do is they would have some type of offer for the new customers, but they would not offer that deal that is special for new customers to the existing customers. And to me, that's just nonsense. Like you're treating your actual customer like I like if they're not giving you money, but you're trying to attract new customers by giving them a more incentive offer than what your actual customers have. It should kind of, I don't know your thought on that, but like, what do you think that any type of companies should apply any type of discount by default to any of their loyal customers, even if they don't ask for it?
That has a lot to do with the value that is perceived by the customers that you have. I'm not a big proponent of discounts. Even we ourselves, we don't do we are not doing discounts. We used to do that, but we realized that any discount means that until that moment I was tricking you, I was fooling my own customers, right? Until now this is the price, and then suddenly, because coronavirus, let's slash the prices. No, that's something that I don't think it must be done. However, there are companies like in fashion, right? When it's out of stock and when it's let's say obsolete, it's normal to cut the prices off. But if in an ideal world, you would treat your best customers better than the new customers. And that means you need to take into account other things which are being perceived as value, not only the discounts. We have a matrix of offering various type of, let's say, treatments to loyal customers, right? And for instance, not too many people realize that if you give free delivery, it's actually 5 to 10 times more expensive than giving free returns, which free return in the mind of the customers is much more valuable, because that means they can change their minds and they are not going to be charged if they will return those items. Not even the delivery cost is going to be paid. And that means the conversion rate would be much more higher, because not only 10 to 15 to 20% of the orders are being returned, but all of the orders are being delivered. And if you pay for delivery, that means you pay 5 to 10 times more than if you would pay for return. And that's a trick that you could be using in order to personalize the experience to the former customers, to the existing ones, that could unlock free return. Thanks for ordering to us. You are at the third order with us, and bam, you have a free return. That could be a trick that could be used. But that means you as an e-commerce player, or you as a company, should craft scenarios, because we are storytellers. Unless we say stories, we tell stories, we are just moving boxes from A to B. But that's not the game where we are. We are in the game of telling the best stories. We are in the game of habit forming. We are in the game of delighting our customers so that we are their first option. And the first to mind is the one which is winning, is not the first that is offering the best discount, the biggest discount. It's not like that. And if you look at the best players in this economic game that we are all playing, are not the ones which are slashing prices, which are the most valuable companies, right? And I think that's the response to your question.
Yes, absolutely. So, in terms of let's say conversion optimization or personalization or both, what are the like? How does that affect a prospect? We talked a lot about like the customer, that we need to treat the customer more in a loyal way, to treat them better. But what about the prospect? How would you treat them if you treat better the customers? How would that affect them?
Uh, if you give better treatment to your customers, and the prospects can say that, that would make them want to become your customers, because they see, okay, these existing customers get better treatment than I get as a prospect. But if you give better treatments to your prospects, that means your former customers will be pissed off, and the new customers will see you only as a, let's say, one night stand, right? I'm going here because you give me the discount. I'm not going to you because you are the most valuable company in the market. And that's something that could backfire big time to you. Let me tell you about us during this period. We knocked off our heads off around what can we do to support the economic environment. And we realized that we can't do pretty much, but the customers that we have, most of our customers are playing in the e-commerce game, and they are being affected, right? We have sectors where we have 3 times more conversions than they had last year, and we have sectors where they have half of the conversions, or even worse than that. So we realize that these are the verticals that we should be sustaining. And we also realize that the most vulnerable companies are the e-commerce with less than 100 employees. And we've said, okay, we negotiated with our investors, and we realized, okay, let's give 5 million euro worth of our technology to the customers which are the most affected, which are e-commerce with less than 100 employees. And that backfired, because our existing customers which were in that segment said, okay, what about us? And we've said, no worries, we're going to extend your license with 12 more months, so that you can also benefit of this offer. So that was the workaround for us. Of course, a lot of companies started to use our technology, and we gave away already $500,000 in technology credits for e-commerce companies. But that's a way to position yourself and to do good, because at the end of the day, Hugo, what matters for you as an entrepreneur, let's say when we have entrepreneurs over here, what really matters are not the numbers, are the words. What I mean by that is not about the zeros. You have the zeros. So once you are certain that you are safe, and you can pay the bills, and you don't have problems with your shelter, and you afford to pay school for your kids and whatever, after that thing, the zeros don't matter anymore. And what matters are the words from the people around you, right? From your colleagues, from the ones you love, and from, I don't know, complete strangers which are writing you a message and saying, wow, that's an incredible thing that you are doing. Thanks a lot for that. And these are the things that are fulfilling our lives as individuals. And I think what is important is to realize, why are you in this game? And if you're in the game of making money and purely money, you're in the wrong game, because eventually you will feel empty. Yeah, I remember a lot of numerous time when I got a lot of money, and then that serotonin fade away in a few minutes or hours. But the delight that I've done something meaningful for our customers or for our colleagues and for the environment, for the society, that sticks forever with you.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. So we talked about like the zeros and the like the fulfillment part for the business or for the entrepreneur itself. So before the entrepreneur or the business itself gets to the point where he don't have to worry about the zeros, how would you manage that part?
So before that, when you are struggling and you want to make a living and you want to make the company going, it's about the value. So one principle that sticks with me since I was 26 years old, I found it a mentor, an incredible person. He opened my eyes and he made me realize this: unless you give incredible value to your customers, don't expect money, right? If you give incredible value to your customer, which is undebatable, that's valuable, right? Nobody can argue with that. Unless you give this undebatable value, don't bother to, I don't know, be frustrated that you don't get money back, right? So that's the principle, and you need to realize that you need to provide this kind of value. Once you give that value, the money will follow. It's like your shadow. You can't escape money. Yeah, everywhere you will go, you will be followed by the money. Like shadow runs after you, and you don't have to do anything about it, right? So it's not like you are forcing your shadow to follow you, and that's what that was happening to my life as well. So unless you don't provide undebatable value, don't bother being frustrated about the fact that you're poor, you don't have money, nobody notices you, and so on. However, you can give a lot of value, but you can't open the door to your customers, right? So I know a lot of companies which have built a 5 stars hotel in Sahara, right, in the desert. So nobody is passing to you, even though you have valuable things. So unfortunately, you need to understand how to tell your story, and too few entrepreneurs are telling the story that they have. If you've listened to this podcast right now, I've started with my story. That's my story, and I'm a character in my own story, and I'm telling my story over and over again, because in my story you are listening to me, because we are being hardwired to listen to stories. And that's why I kept you so much over here and in this conversation with Hugo, because I've told you my story, and you need to understand how to tell your story and where do your customers fit in. And an incredible framework is the story brand from how to build a story brand. I think Donald Miller, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sorry if I messed with his name, but you are not the main character of your story. Your customers are, and you need to be that Yoda, that thing that together with them, their with their struggle, as the character is struggling, and voila, they need this tool, and you are the character in their stories. You are not the main character, right? And that's how you can craft a business, right? First, find a real problem, give outstanding value, tell your story properly, and repeat it as often as you can. And that's it. Eventually, like in the Shawshank Redemption, I recently saw that movie again. It's incredible movie, right? You need to be persuasive, because life is not a sprint; it's an ultra marathon, right? And things are not coming instantly. If they come to instantly, you're not going to appreciate them at, at their proper value.
Absolutely. So I just want to cover two things. You said value, ultimate value, and story. So let's start with ultimate value. There's a lot of people out there that say, "Oh, you need to give value, value, value," but at some point, that value becomes unvaluable. If you see what I mean. So how do you make sure that that you're really giving value, that is not just like giving away something that is useless that you consider as value?
by asking your customers, by giving them a voice, and by constantly listening to calls with your customers or making calls with them, staying connected with their real needs. Because too many entrepreneurs are starting off a company with the thing that they have a product, and then they look who could use my product. They are not coming from, hey, 200 people that I've surveyed on LinkedIn, because it's a free tool, right? Or Sales Navigator, it's, I don't know, $89. I can get there and I can ask 150 people every day. So that means 4.5K people could be asked by me. And let's say 400 will respond to me about a question that I have around their needs. So go out there and find problems, and then build products, and then build companies around real problems. Don't start differently. I've built this product which could have this feature and then that feature and then the other, and then I'm finding customers to my product. Because that's another problem that we have as entrepreneurs. We are building products and then we are finding someone to buy that product. We are not finding a community. We are not building a community around the problem, and then ta-da, we have the solution to your problem. And that's a pity, because too many entrepreneurs are failing and we keep on doing the same mistake over and over again. I've made my mistakes as well. I've done it numerous times. I failed completely. Back in 2007, I was going bankrupt because of this problem. I've started with the solution, not with the problem, and then crafting the solution to the problem. So in order to understand what's valuable, find real problems, find real needs, survey your customers, stay connected with them, keep on asking them about what they would need. And now it's the perfect moment. You would say, how is the perfect moment? Yeah, they have the time to answer. Maybe their business is down 80% or 50%. Ask what they would need right now. Yeah, go out and ask them and find solutions to their real problems, and then you would be crafting a fantastic company by having this habit of being connected and asking your customers, instead of I don't know, building the next rocket ship that nobody's going to use.
Absolutely. And how would you connect, let's say, value and storytelling with personalization and conversion optimization? Like, how would you kind of link them together or use them together?
They are already linked together. In order to provide value, you need to be personal. You need to approach your customers, your prospects, your visitors, your audience in a personal manner. And in order to do that, you need to identify the needs that they have. So conversion rate optimization has a lot of aspects. I don't know, you could slash your prices by 90%, your conversion rate will go up. Or something happens, it was that funny meme on LinkedIn the other days, like who was responsible for the digital transformation of your company? The CEO, the CTO, or COVID-19? COVID-19, right? The environment, the demand, the economic environment is so dynamic that is forcing you to change your company. So conversion rate optimization means to understand your customers in order to change their behavior. But in order to do that, you need to understand the behavior of your customers first. You need to survey, you need to ask, you need to look at the data, you need to do deep diving into data patterns and to identify anomalies. And that's something that you can do. It's not that hard to do it. And we as a company, we are pouring a lot of resources into education. We've recently made a summit. We've got 4,400 people attending that summit live, and we've aggregated 30. We've put together 35 outstanding speakers that provided value, and that's how you make your audience. Our audience are e-commerce marketeers that need these kind of solutions, and we empower them to think differently, because most of them they have the same solution to the problem of lack of demand, right? Their solution is accelerate on marketing, accelerate on paid media. That's not a solution. If the demand is not there, you have two options. You either build demand for the same things that you have, or you come up with different products that are in demand right now. because the equation is the same. At this moment, we as companies, we come up with solutions to problems of our customers, right? So we fulfill the needs and desires of our customers. It's the same thing. But if we are being stuck on the same model of from January 2020, and we come up with the same products for which there's no demand, then who's obsolete over there? We are being threatened, and the life of our company is being threatened by the fact that we are not looking where the demand has gone, what's in demand right now. So these are the let's say tricks that I can share with you.
And what would you say that are the, let's say, the do's and the don'ts of what you would recommend for those people that wants to do audience research, that want to better understand their audiences, like to optimize them, or also to do some data collections or centralization?
Yeah, the first thing would be the data hygiene. So make sure that you are using the right measure stick, right? Use the same measure stick everywhere. The second thing would be avoid analysis paralysis. So what is actionable from this data set that you are looking over there? I used to spend a lot of time by deep diving into Google Analytics, and I wasted hours, 4 hours per day. I was using rescue time to see how I'm spending my time. And I was, at some moment, I made this realization. There's nothing there in Google Analytics anymore for me. So I need to go where the customers are. So that's why we've built Omniconvert Reveal, right? Because you can see the behavior of your visitors fantastically in Google Analytics, but what's the behavior and which are the data patterns in your customers? That's why we built this kind of tool. So maybe you should be grouping your customers differently. Maybe you should be asking customers different things according to the time it lapsed since the last order. Maybe you could do this kind of data mining by looking at purchase data. And another important thing right now is the fact that customers are being affected and their behavior is different because they are being, let's say, panicked, right? People are panicked. We all laugh that it's the toilet rolls are out of supply in the supermarkets, but that shows fear, right?
Yeah.
So the emotional, the reptilian brain is over there. Let's grab as many toilet rolls as we can. And that means people will, according to John Quelch, which is one of my favorite during this moment, the favorite authors from Harvard Business School. So he made these 4 segments, right? The first segment is the segment of let's say, let's buy things only through the lens of price, right? So they are completely changing their behavior, and that doesn't have to do anything with their purchase power. That has to do a lot with their, let's say, paradigm, mentality, explanation that they are giving to the world, right? So that means in terms of if you would be looking at them, is not that they don't have money anymore, is that they don't have trust in reality anymore. So that means that's why they stop everything, and everything, it means everything which doesn't mean survival. So everything which is uh, uh, not food, shelter, energy, or internet, let's say, is being postponed or considered expendable by them. And that means that's the first segment from John Quelch. So you could analyze the behavior by looking at the purchase data according to this. What group of customers usually bought and now they are not buying anything? So how do the segments have changed according to this? So that's the first group. The second group is so this is being called by John Quelch slam on the brakes, right? The second psychographic segment is pain but patient. So they feel the pain, but they are not, let's say, disregarding anything. The third group would be comfortably well off. That's how he named it, this group. So these are the usually the most wealthy customers, right? The ones which are not changing their pattern, their behavior pattern, because they can afford it. And the last one are the live for today, which are usually young people, which don't care about the future anymore. So they are continuing to buy all the crazy shit without caring about the future. So maybe it's time to do psychographic segmentation instead of the segments that you can do in Google Analytics, because it doesn't matter that you're coming from Facebook or Google Ads anymore. What matters is what's in your brain, how you are explaining the current situation. Will you buy again these shoes or whatever or not? So now is the time to address these segments that are still continuing to buy, unless you are not, let's say, selling food, or things that are, let's say, unexpendable. So mainly that's my suggestion around segmentation nowadays.
For sure. And just quickly, what would be the best way of just getting started to get in the brain of your users to better understand them and get more into psychographic type of mindset or research, just to make sure that those people that people don't look always at Google Analytics, but looks more at the behavior and patterns and things like that, just to get started.
Yeah, look at the product mix before and after, right? What products have the best conversions? So products, not customers. And then you could see the basket, sorry, the basket, how is being which are the components of the baskets right now and before. The second thing would be to look at the patterns of these kind of RFM segments, right? That's why I do believe in them. True lovers, which were the VIP customers before and after this moment of COVID-19, whatever. The first thing, simply ask them, what do they consider, let's say, must have, or what they consider postponables from your products, what they consider expendable from the products that you are proposing, we are proposing to the market. So that's how would I start. Deep diving in Google Analytics, look at the products. Deep diving in your customer segments, you could use the reveal in case you are on Shopify, for instance. Our extension is for free because we've just started on that platform. Third, go out there and ask them, how do they feel about purchasing X, Y, Z from your categories? And that's it. That's all, for.
Awesome. So to wrap up, is there anything that you'd like to share with us that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, what is really, really important, guys, is to exercise, meditate, do a journal, keep your smile off, because that's what the world needs, right? We are the human species. We are the survivors. We need to get through this. And in order to get through this, we need to have a mental state, which means we can do this. So the world doesn't need any more depressed people which are saying, "Ah." So in order to do this, do your job in this huge orchestra of humanity. Play your instrument better than you used to do. And that means give a smile. Yeah, put a smile on your face, offer smile, offer support, go out there, help your neighbors, help your customers, do the extra mile. Yeah, don't sleep, don't get lazy, don't freaking burn your brain in front of Netflix. Do something about it. That's my message.
That's a wonderful message, and I think that everyone needs to hear it and get it in their brain. So, where can we follow or try Omniconvert, or even like follow you on any social media platforms?
Yeah, I'm a LinkedIn guy. If you follow me on LinkedIn or if you send me a message, I will respond. That's for sure. Moreover, you can go on omniconvert.com. We have this offer for e-commerce with less than 100 employees. Use our technology. It's free for 12 months. That's our way to support, to give a helping hand to the world, because we are not doctors or anything else. We can't invent the ventilators or whatever. And that's how you can find it.
Awesome. And I think you also have a new Facebook group for e-commerce, right?
Yeah, we have a Slack group, e-commerce growth group. That's the name of our Slack group. We are around 600 people there, but more and more to come. And also, I'm having this podcast which is called Growth Interviews, and I will start off a weekly e-commerce support show with industry experts around how to move the needle further. Yeah, how to move the market. how to save and how to thrive in this, let's say, challenging economic time.
Fantastic. All right. So thank you very much for being part of Human Reach. It was great to have you with us.
Thank you as well, Hugo, and thanks everyone. Stay safe.
Take care. Bye.